Good evening. We had a few minutes of some technical difficulties. I am getting ready to get on and give you opportunity to go like, tag, and share. We have a phenomenal guest on tonight. Woo! We are going to be talking about domestic violence awareness. And matter of fact, let me silence my phone so I want to be hearing that so we can get people on. I'm going to go say like, tag, and share because we need to get this out. I'm going to put join us now. Join us now. So if you get the opportunity, go ahead and do that. I am Overseer Emma Alexander. We are on week 143. Woo, 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 woo. For the soul, words for the soul come to uplift, to let you know that you are chosen, loved, forgiven, that God has some plan for you, and it's good and not of evil. And we are so excited for our special guest on tonight. Right now, I see Tanya on. Tanya, go ahead and like. We need to let everybody know that we are on. Some people may have thought we were running a little late, so we're going to just talk a little bit and do a little dialogue as they're coming in. So, Miss Patricia, I've known you for a little bit, so we're excited. I see Bishop's got on the line. Thank you, Bishop. And we're going to get everybody else on there. Go ahead and like, tag, and share. Tell us a little bit about who you are, the Peace Initiative, and what you do, and then we'll start talking about domestic violence awareness and also about teen dating violence.
Well, my name is Patricia Castillo, and I have a 43-year career as a social worker
All right.
here in San Antonio. I have never worked in another place, like with a permanent job, um, except for here. And I've been with the Peace Initiative for 33 years,
Wow.
and we co-founded it, myself and my colleague Jane Schaefer.
Mhm.
At the time, she was with the Center for Women in Church and Society at Our Lady of the Lake University, which
Mm.
is my alma mater.
Uh-huh.
And she and I got together and pulled some people together from the community, and we came up with this idea of addressing the issue of domestic violence because we received guidance from survivors themselves.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so survivors themselves were the ones that told us, you need to be working on this issue because nobody else is working on it. This was in 1990.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so in 1990, the survivors felt like they were invisible.
Mm.
And they said, we need somebody to speak up for us. And we had pulled together like a coalition of
Uh-huh.
agencies and programs that were serving
Mhm.
survivors of domestic violence. And together with the survivors themselves, we created what we now call the Peace Initiative, and we've been around since 1990. And we chose the name Peace because when we asked for the women, the survivors, what they needed from us, what they wanted from us, if we were going to do some work in the community, what
Yes.
should we be doing?
Uh,
And they told us, we just want to live in peace. We
my,
want
my.
we want our kids to grow up in peace. We want our neighborhoods to experience peace. We want our relationships
Shit.
to be peaceful.
All
Can you
right.
help us with that? And I was like, oh my God, how do you respond to that challenge?
Right, right.
I mean, where do you go get peace? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Ah,
I'm like, I was telling the women, I can get you a free lawyer. Would that work? But I don't know where to go get peace.
mm-hmm.
And they were like, that's what we want. We want to live in peace.
Wow.
And so from there we took that word and called ourselves putting an end to abuse through community efforts, the
That's
Peace
powerful.
Initiative. And so we were named by them. And then we knew too that it couldn't just be, like a person running around the city, upset about domestic violence. It
Right.
had to be community efforts.
There you
It
go.
had to be a big voice of
My.
lots of people
Mm-hmm.
saying the same things over and over and over again until somebody listens.
Wow.
And so that's what we've been doing for the past 33 years. And as the Peace Initiative is, bringing that issue forward,
Mm-hmm.
an issue that makes everybody uncomfortable, an
Right.
issue that nobody wants to talk about, an issue that, unless you've lived it, you probably don't understand it,
Hmm.
and an issue that requires it to be out in the open in
Yes.
order
Can
for
expose it. Yes.
it
Yes.
to bring it out in the open in order for it to be effectively addressed.
Woo.
And this is something that thrives in secrecy and shame and
Mhm.
silence.
That's so true.
It is. And so our job has been, we're not going to act out of silence and shame anymore. We're
Not,
going to bust this wide open
oh, I
and
love that.
let everybody know that this is harming the source of our well-being. If you grow up in a good, healthy, loving, respectful, nurturing family,
Mm-hmm.
you've got the world in the palm of your hands. But if you grow up in a family where there's violence and torture and shame and trauma, then you're doomed. You can
Right.
be doomed for the rest of your life, right? I'm not
Yes.
saying that what you experience as a child dictates everything that you're going to be as a grown up, because you
Mhm.
have the power to change it.
Right. There you go.
Not everybody knows that. And
Whew.
so this is what we have to get out into the open, is getting this issue, to be addressed effectively by all the institutions in our communities, so that the people that are suffering with it know that they don't have to live like that. That
Come on.
they, yeah, they
Yes.
have options.
You
They
know
have,
what? This is getting me excited. We're just dialoguing before we even start talking, but people have to get out of that stigma. I work for NAMI now, I work with NAMI and getting that out, the stigma of mental health. And we at the church, we have been talking with our youth and letting them know about the importance of valuing who they are, valuing themselves. They see we have some of our youth who have been in teen violence in the dating scene, and matter of fact, Tara, I know my daughter's on. I need you to reach out to some of our youth and our youth director, tell them they need to get on, because we're going to be talking about teen dating violence. So I know we are domestic violence awareness, but can we kick it off about talking about teen dating violence and that shame and that silence, and how can we help our teens to break out of that or not find themselves back in that same cycle again with that same type of person?
well, first of all, Emma, we have to remind ourselves that young people learn what they live.
Huh. Woo! I'm putting that down.
Okay?
Okay.
Children and young people learn what they live.
Mm-hmm.
So we can talk all we want, right? About, this is what I want you to do, and this is how I want you to act, and this is what I expect of you, but the true teacher
Mm-hmm.
is the example.
Yes.
The true teacher is the modeling. you know
Yes.
you can, your words might sound and ring true and sound beautiful, but if you talk a good game and then act the opposite, it ain't gonna work. And
So
so
true.
you have to be the role model. You have to teach your kids, you know how you want them to be by being that.
And
Okay.
set that example. I
Yes.
know for my daughter's my oldest daughter, she is now in her 30s working, and I remember our bishop asked her one year, what is love? And when she was younger, she said, oh, that's easy. That's my mom and dad. I see it. And
Aw.
the thing about it, and you know, and I hear you, you can see things and model. However, there's also influences of those who they're around and their surroundings that can pull them to to experience other things because sometime, and I need y'all to chime in who are on right now. Thank you, Elder Tara. Donna, you're on, and Nevada King, and I saw Overseer Carolyn Stovall Gilbert. Sometime our youth feel because they're not in a dating scene or have someone and everyone else does, they'll just accept the next person, even though they're not a healthy person.
That's right.
Oh,
That's and it's real unfortunate because parents and people, we have to quit putting that kind of pressure on young people, that they have to be coupled. That's a unfortunately, a lot of people do that because that's an American value,
mhm.
to be in a relationship, to be coupled, to be
Yes.
with somebody, and to have somebody. I mean, I hear people asking little kids, that are 3, 4, and 5, you have a girlfriend? Do
Oh,
you have a
come
boy- Where's your boyfriend? Do you have a boyfriend? And it's
on.
like
My gosh.
they're a
We're so great to
child
be by yourself and love yourself. When you
first.
can go, yes, if you can go out and have dinner, enjoy who you are, then
That's
it's a
right.
lot easier to invite somebody else into your atmosphere.
Exactly. And parents, need to, foster that in the child.
Yes.
You're good enough just the way you are and who you are, and
Yes.
and how you choose to be. And we need to show them love no matter who they turn out to be.
Oh, I
And
like.
um we need to accept them, because they're God's creation. No matter who they are and how they turn out to be, they are God's creation.
And you know what? Yes.
We have to do that. And so, because otherwise they're going to run around, looking for acceptance and valuation from people that may not have their best interest in mind.
That's right.
you know and so that has to begin in the home,
I
and we have to effectively communicate that, and we have to be, demonstrative of it. We have to hug our kids and tell them we love them
yes.
regularly. We live in a very crazy, scary world, and
Yes.
if it doesn't come from the home, then it's not going to come from anywhere else.
There
And
you
if
go.
it does, it might come from people that are not the right people for our children.
There you
And
go.
and then the other thing too, we have a population of boys and young men that are starving
Mm,
for affection
yes.
and for connection, and they're not getting it from their families. And unfortunately, it's because we stop being affectionate with our boys from a very young age
Hmm.
because we're afraid of the homosexuality thing,
Hmm.
or the gay thing. We're afraid that if we hug on them too much or love on them too much, that's going to, do something to them. No, it's something that we have to demonstrate to them, that they're worth loving, they're
Yes.
worth hugging, they're
Yeah.
worth giving them a kiss on the cheek, on the forehead, and grabbing them and hugging them and telling them how much they mean to you. Because if we don't do that, there's people online and in
Yes.
the gaming world that are turning our boys into monsters.
Yes. And you know
Into
what? In the families, we can show what a good touch is. We can
Yes,
show what a loving touch is. So
yes,
if they understand this is a loving touch, and I'm not supposed to be getting my mom or my dad or my tia or someone did not touch me like that. So I don't have to accept that. So I love how you said that. We have to model. I mean, my kids are in their 30s. I still hug on them. I still kiss on them. My husband still kisses on them. And it's so important we do. I saw somebody said we have to validate our children. They said, can you discuss being bullied into a toxic relationship?
yep.
We can get into, that's a true thing.
That's a true thing. That really happens. There is a thing called coercive control.
Hmm.
Okay.
Coercive control.
Coercive control. Y'all need to do some research. Google coercive control, because this is something that is rampant in people that are being abusive. They're using coercive control tactics,
Okay.
which are very common, behaviors that in our world are not illegal, but they're
Ah,
abusive, and
my.
they're controlling, and they're dominating, and they're oppressive. and
Mm.
and people use those tactics because it's not like punching you into submission, but they use the tactics to control and dominate people.
Mm.
And that's bullying. That's what they use in bullying. And um and I'm trying to get our legislators to look at coercive control and figure out a way how to get laws created against coercive control, because it is rampant and it's not against the law. In other words, it's a legal way to
Wow.
abuse your partner. Okay.
Wow.
And it's very scary, and it's very pervasive. It's
Hmm.
To me, I would call it even evil,
Hmm.
because you can't get in trouble for it. And you can call the cops all you want, but they're going to say, ma'am, that's not illegal. There's nothing we can do.
Wow.
Just and they'll just drive off. And but you feel it, because it's done like continuously, like
Yeah.
non-stop. And we really are just now beginning to look at that. And actually, Emma, in our country, there's only like 4 or 5 states that have laws against coercive control,
Oh
and
my
Texas
gosh.
is not one of them. And so,
Wow.
um, that's being used, and that's harming people and children every single minute of every day in this country. And so we really need to, be very strategic and
Mhm.
thoughtful and deliberate
There
about
you go.
figuring out how to deal with coercive control, because it is bullying, and the tactics are just, they're plain and simple evil ways of controlling and dominating somebody and keeping them under your thumb.
Yeah. I read a quote by Michelle Obama that speaks on that. Tanya, if you put that quote up, and it is she right there? Tanya, you there? Well, it shall bring it up, but I'll just go ahead. Michelle Obama said, "Any man who uses his strength to oppress women is a coward." So, and and it says for men, but women as well, because sometimes women do the same thing. Thank you, Tanya, as men do. So I don't
Yeah,
want to make it gender that it's just a man thing, because women and men, they both can be manipulative.
right. And in Texas and San Antonio, it's 1 in 3 women have
Hmm.
experienced abuse in their life. One
Uh-huh.
in three. Okay. That's a lot of women.
Yes.
And so in Texas and San Antonio, that's the way the statistics are. And they say that it's 1 in 6 or 7 men have
Okay.
experienced abuse and violence in their relationships. And so yes, it does happen. It's not as frequent as it is with women, but it does happen. And we have to remember that we live in a society, Emma,
Yeah.
that does not permit for men to admit
There
that
you
something
go.
like this is happening to them, because then they come across as weak. What? You don't have control of your woman? What's the matter with you? Like, that's the kind of society we live in.
Yeah.
And and it's harmful to
Yeah.
the men because it shuts them down.
Hmm.
Shuts them down.
And as you were saying that, because we tell our men to be strong and to be mighty, to be the head, to be the priest of their home. However, if we're not given the tools or letting them know from the beginning how to be loved and be loved, and how people should treat them, because sometimes they say, well, I guess I just have to take it, and this woman is abusive to me. I can
Mhm.
share, my husband has been, I'm his second marriage. His first husband, his first wife was abusive to him.
Mhm.
He was not abusive to her, but she was very abusive to him,
Mhm.
to the point throwing things at him and a whole lot of stuff. So
Mhm.
he went through that and endured a lot of it, because he said, I can't hit a woman. I don't know what to do. And it was a hard place for him, you
Hmm.
know, and it was like intolerable. That
Hmm.
I mean, it didn't work out, you know. But
Hmm.
he learned from that that he did not have to stay in that situation. But for a lot of it, he took hitting on, and so men, we have to. Oh, he put in there throwing knives. He said she was throwing knives at him. So it's a real thing, and as we're talking about being aware doing domestic violence, that there's ways. And Patricia, you were talking about there's some strategies and different things people can do to be
Hmm.
more aware or to get themselves out of that. Can you kind of share about that now?
Well, it's real important for us to educate ourselves,
Okay.
uh, to read up about it, to understand what it is that a survivor goes through and how hard it is to deal with being stuck in a situation of abuse and violence. Uh,
Yes.
so educate ourselves. That's one thing.
Okay.
Uh, don't judge people who are in abusive relationships
Thank you. Thank you.
because you don't know what it's like until you have been in it.
That's right.
And even even if you were a victim at one time and you got out, um, you know, everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
Every case is different. There might be a lot of things that are similar, but everybody's situation is different. Like,
Hmm.
for example, a lot of people don't realize that when you're in the process of trying to get out of an abusive relationship, that is the most dangerous time.
Right.
That is when your chances of being killed or severely injured increase by 75%.
Wow.
That's why we never tell people, if I was I'd get out a long time ago, or why haven't you left? The thing is that people don't leave because they're trying to stay alive.
Hello.
Thank you. Okay? People don't leave because they're trying to figure out how to do it and stay alive. All
Wow,
right?
that's
Because
powerful.
they've all heard, go ahead, try to leave. Let's see what happens. Go ahead, you know. And so, they know. And many of them have seen the person who abuses them. They've seen them do harm to other people, so they
Yes.
believe it. Okay, they
Yes.
believe the threats. And or the other thing that's going on too oftentimes is they tell them, go ahead and leave, and I'll go over there and set your parents house on fire, you
And they
know.
do.
And
Yes.
some
Yes.
of them
That threat is
will.
real. That threat is real. Yes,
Exactly.
it is.
And so they are trying to not only protect themselves, but they're trying to protect their extended family too.
Yes.
And so we don't know what kinds of things get whispered in their ear. To us it might look like, oh, look, he's whispering in her ear. He's probably whispering sweet nothings in her ear, and we don't know what's really being whispered
Right.
into the ears. Okay. And so don't judge a person because they stay. Offer to help them in a confidential way. Leave it open ended. How
Mhm.
can I be of help?
How can I be of help?
What would be helpful for me to do for you? um, Tell them something like, I'm afraid for your safety. I'm afraid for your children's safety.
Yeah.
um, I'm afraid you're going to get seriously harmed. How can I help you? you
Yes.
know Offer to give them a ride to where the shelter says they'll come get them at.
Okay.
Offer to take them to the police station to make a police report. Offer to do that kind of stuff, right?
Hmm.
But don't judge them because you don't know what their life is like and you don't know what they live through.
Yes.
And as men have to be more vocal. Men
Mm.
have to speak up, when they know that their brother, their cousin, their neighbor, their compadre, whoever is being violent or abusive toward their family. They need to take them aside and say, brother, can I help you? What's
Right.
going on? you
Mhm.
know, that behavior is really not cool.
Yeah.
That behavior is very harmful to you and your children and your partner.
Mhm.
What can I do to help you? Can I be of some support to you? Can I be there for you, instead of saying, oh, well, that's none of my business? Because that's what a lot of men say.
Mhm.
It's none of my business. And yet, that's a family that's being harmed. But when they're harmed, that means everybody around that family is also harmed.
Yes. Yes. It
Okay.
affects more than just that one. Yes, ma'am.
And so this is why our city and our county now view domestic violence as a public health problem.
There you go.
It's now been designated as a public health problem.
I like that.
And both the city and the county are taking steps to address it from that perspective,
Uh-huh.
because we can no longer view it as a personal problem or
Right.
an individual problem,
Hmm.
or that's the way they are, and just blow it off like that's none of my business. No, it is your business, because the other citizens around that family are
Yes.
paying for the cops that have to respond, are paying for the child protective services system that has to respond, are paying for the judges and lawyers and court reporters and deputies that have to be in the court, are paying for the jail that has to hold that person when they get arrested, are paying for the county hospital
Come
visits
on now. Yes.
victim has to go to. And then we're the most underinsured group of people everywhere, because of our current government situation, right? We don't Everybody's underinsured, so they take you to the county hospital
Yeah.
because you don't have insurance, so that's where you're going to be seen when you're injured. So all of those institutions that exist in our community are now having to respond to that one family that supposedly it's none of your business, but
Huh.
yet you're paying for all those services.
Speak up in here. Yes. That is good. That is so good.
You
Yes.
know? So I mean, is that the kind of stuff we want to be paying for? I don't think so.
Mm.
I think we'd rather be paying for better parks and better libraries and a stronger public safety, or
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I think that's what we'd like to be paying for. You
Yeah.
know, but when we turn the other cheek and pretend like it's not there, then you're giving it the opportunity to thrive,
Yeah. There you
for
go.
that
And we,
bad thing to thrive and to flourish
yeah.
and to keep happening and to keep escalating and to keep getting worse, because it's none of your business.
And we got to talk. Bishop put something in the chat. Patricia, he said men often don't talk about the abusive relationships they are in with other men until someone is brave enough to start that conversation. I don't know if you've had that conversation that we may have to have you with you and some men on a panel and
Okay,
talking about for
let's do it.
those, because um, our church, we're in our space right now. We are calling not just a safe place but a brave place, that we are unpacking some things that have been pushed down for years, and
Yes.
now getting to the place that we're open and wanting to share and wanting to heal so our children can heal. Because a lot
Exactly.
of times the things we've done in the past we never said we're sorry for, because
Nope.
they never saw that example. And now, since teaching has been coming, being educated on how to and what to, and that we can build our capacity and we don't no longer have to remain as I told you so and not say why. You know?
Exactly.
So, oh my
Exactly.
goodness. So, Bishop, get ready, because we're going to have her come and do a panel, and we can get some of those men. We're going to have you guys come and talk about that, because when men can talk about, yes, I was the abuser, and then I was the one that was abused, and being open and honest and how it made them feel, and people getting on and not condemning them, but like, you know what? But we want you to help it. You're going to get better. You know?
Exactly. Exactly. And it can be done. And men are doing it everywhere. Men are starting to wake up, and men are starting to realize, that they don't want to live in that misery.
Right.
because no, people who beat up their families and abuse their families, they're not happy people.
Exactly. Hurting people hurt people.
And
They
so,
want to be
you
loved.
know, they need to heal too.
Yeah.
And so, there's men doing this on November 21st. Emma, we're having a conference, a virtual conference with the National Organization of Men Against Sexism. and
Okay.
and we're going to talk about how stuff in our world helps to promote this
Okay.
behavior, and how it helps to sustain it,
Okay.
and what are the things that we need to do to seriously address evolving from that behavior, because
Right.
it doesn't serve us anymore. It
It
doesn't
does not.
work. It
It
doesn't.
does not.
And so, one of the neat things that we do at the Peace Initiative is we provide parenting classes.
Okay.
We deliver parenting classes in English and Spanish,
Okay.
and this is done. And we got the funding originally. It was gotten for us by way of the city, uh,
Okay.
to give us this funding from the San Antonio Area Foundation,
Mm-hmm.
and to provide these parenting classes using the Triple P curriculum, which stands
Okay.
for Positive Parenting Program.
Okay.
And it's an evidence-based curriculum
Okay.
that is used all over the world. But the reason why the city picked it is because it doesn't allow for corporal punishment.
Okay.
And so you're not allowed to strike your children in this curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
And, we really have to begin even there, where there's a different kind of relationship that is forged between the parent and the child that does not include violence. Because when
Right.
you hit your children, bottom line is that's violence.
Mm-hmm.
And, we now know that, we're not going to deconstruct the master's house by
Right.
using the master's tools.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of violence is what the masters used,
Right.
to keep their people in line. And we cannot go there
Mhm.
anymore. We
I love
have
that.
to discard that behavior. And
Yes.
for me, like I grew up, being disciplined by being hit,
Mm-hmm.
like constantly, regularly. We were hit in my family. And it wasn't until I was like in my 40s that our parents sat us down and apologized,
Wow.
said we were very mistaken. We made some huge mistakes by hitting you as much as we did, and
Mm.
we are very sorry. And we were ignorant,
Mm.
and
There you go.
know any better. Nobody taught us how to
That's it.
parent.
Yeah.
Nobody sent us to school for that.
Uh-huh.
And we didn't know what we were doing. We just did what was done to us.
All right.
And so a lot of people, we just keep using the same behaviors that no longer serve us.
Okay.
And so this is when you talk to, for example, like I used to work in the Bexar County Jail for
Okay.
for 2.5 years. I ran a program for the women inmates, and then after that, I would go in and teach classes
Mhm.
as part of the Peace Initiative for the male inmates, right?
Okay.
And so I got to spend quite a bit of time with men and women in the Bexar County Jail, and every time I talked to them about this stuff, all of them, like 100% of them, talked about how they grew up getting just knocked about left and right by their families. And I'm like, this is like a root source
Mm-hmm.
trauma for our communities.
Yes.
And this is why our prison, industrial complex is busting at the seams with our people.
Yes.
We're
Yes. Yes.
we're setting them up, by doing this to them, and we have to stop it.
Right.
And we can no longer, use violence as a way of interrelating with our kids and our within our families, both with the children as well as within the adults.
And
It
you know
just
what? You are blessed because you had your parents 40 years older and said, I'm sorry. and
They
there's
did.
some parents have not said they're sorry yet.
No.
Oh my goodness, how much that would change and break something in
Yes.
some people's hearts. Um,
Yes.
at the Peace Initiative, do you guys provide families or domestic violence classes? That's a question in there.
That's one of the things that I do. We collaborate with the another organization called Empower House.
In Powerhouse, okay.
Empower House is a local nonprofit, just like us, another local nonprofit, and we together we applied for funding from United Way,
Okay.
and we put together a program called Partners in Peace, and
Okay.
we teach classes where the first hour is domestic violence education
Mhm.
and the second hour is parenting class.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so we do that for families, for parents,
Mhm.
um, on a regular basis, and the classes are free and they're online. And
I
so
love that. Do
yeah.
you now? If someone was to go to the Peace Initiative website, would they find that link? How do they find
No,
that?
they need to go to the Empower House website.
Okay, go to. Okay, I
They're
put
the
it in Powerhouse. Okay.
Yes, they're the ones that register the people. They're the ones
Okay.
that sign up the families.
All
Uh,
right.
and so go to Empower House, and there you'll find the information about the parenting classes and the domestic violence classes, and
Awesome.
you're welcome to sign up with them. If you just want to take the parenting classes,
Mm-hmm.
you can call my educator. Her number is 210-533
Mm-hmm.
0880, and her name is Bianca, and she can sign you up for just the parenting classes. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're interested in the both the domestic violence and the parenting together,
Mm-hmm.
then go to Empower House because they are registering the families through their connection to community. And either way, this is information that, if we could change the brains of our children by not hitting them, we would
Yeah.
live in a very different world, Emma.
Right. You're
We
saying something. Yeah.
we would
Yes.
live in a very even Oprah learned about that when when she learned about ACEs, which is adverse childhood experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and when children have adverse childhood experiences and then they never get tended to, that's
Yes.
when they're at high risk for falling into these traps of substance abuse and
Yeah.
crime, and school pathway to prison stuff.
Yeah. Second and third grade, you're on the
Yeah.
pipeline to that. They look at that. I remember when I was a principal, our superintendent would tell our second grade class and our third grade class, watching your children, those
Yeah.
that are going on, that is a pathway. Um,
Yes.
as you were saying that, for those who are wanting classes on, oh, you hadn't just mentioned the class. I can't even think about it, but I know we put it out on NAMI. We're offering certain classes
Yeah, I'm
because
going to be doing a NAMI class on the 30th, I believe.
on Monday, I
Yeah.
believe we have one on Monday on
Yeah.
teen dating. You're
Yes,
doing a class on teen dating tomorrow. I'm going to be there
I am. Good. Good.
online.
Good.
It's
And
free.
anybody can go. That's the
That's
other
it.
thing. Anybody can go to those classes. I'm going to be doing some more of those. I do one per month.
Okay.
And so I'm going to be doing some more. And, those are offered for free. There's a lot of education, you guys, and it's free. And when parents are smarter, they're much more effective. You know,
Yes.
that's what this is about, is being a smart parent, and not somebody that this is a very complex world that we live in now, and
Yes.
we have to be smarter, to address the issues that our families face, and we can't just rely on the old ways, because those do not serve us anymore.
Not at all. And if we're wanting those numbers from 1 out of 3, oh my goodness, 1 out of 3. Just
One
think
out
about
of
that.
three.
Three. One out of
Yes.
three.
One out of three.
That's oh man, that have encountered or encountering that. Um, Someone had asked earlier, and I didn't get a chance to address the question. When they don't have, they're not sure of resources to get somebody's help. What? And I heard you say taking them to the hospital or driving
Taking
them.
yes,
What are
uh,
other things that they can do?
and make yourself available for them to talk, somebody to talk to.
Hmm.
Isolation, remember that isolation is a big part of the problem with victims of domestic
Right.
violence.
Yeah.
And the person who's using violence against them, they isolate them on purpose.
Yeah.
They get them cut off from their family and their
Mhm.
friends
Mhm.
because they don't want family and friends asking questions.
There you go.
They don't want family and friends noticing that bruise on her neck or that bruise on the corner of her eye and saying, "Hey, what happened to you there?
Hmm.
Why do you have that bruise?" And they don't want nobody questioning,
Yeah.
what's going on. And so the process of getting them cut off from family and friends is a very deliberate process. That's a very common behavior. And even for people that, they used to be real connected with their extended family and
Yes.
we're always at all the family parties and the family gatherings and then all of a sudden they get with somebody and they're gone. Nobody sees them anymore.
Yes.
And that's what's going on oftentimes, right? And then sometimes the extended family participates by saying, "Oh no, don't invite Sylvia and Joe because they get drunk and then they start fighting and they ruin your party, man. So don't invite them." And so you
We
cut
need
them
them
off
in
too.
community. Yes.
You cut them off too.
Yeah.
And so that's perfect for the abuser
Wow.
because they don't want you to be in his he don't want you to be in his business or
Yeah.
her business, whoever's being the abuser. They don't want you in their business. And
Yeah.
so for you to quit inviting them to stuff, that's perfect. You're doing the right thing for that family, for that person who's being violent. You're doing the right thing, and that's not good.
I
You
get.
want to keep the door open. You want to keep open lines of communication. You and the other thing too that often happens is the family might get mad at the person who uses violence. So then they start like dogging them, like,
Mhm.
"Why are you with that jerk? And why are you with that floozy? And why are you, and you shouldn't be with them and you deserve better." But all that does is you make them have to defend them.
Right. Yes. And I found that to be so.
You
Yes.
you make them have to defend them. You make them have to, because remember, they're the ones that picked them.
Yes.
So not only are you insulting the person who's violent, but you're insulting your relative too, or your
Mhm.
friend because they picked
Wow.
them. And
Yeah.
so, you that's not helpful. Don't
Wow.
start cutting them down and put saying bad things about them. That's not helpful. Just
Mhm.
say, "How can I help you be safe?"
Oh,
You I
beautiful.
How can I help you and your kids? Think about what your kids are being exposed to.
Yes.
Please, your kids cannot be exposed to this. This is traumatic for them to be watching you be treated this way, and this is harmful to them. Can I, you know, and if you need the kids to come stay at my house for a day so you can think or plan or
Mhm.
whatever,
Yes. Yes.
offer to babysit, and do childcare for a day because we need, the other thing too is that another thing we don't realize is that a survivor
Hmm.
being abused is usually exhausted,
Come on now. Yeah.
exhausted.
Wow.
Because they're busy trying to save face, they're busy trying to keep their kids safe, they're busy trying to keep their themselves safe, they're busy trying to placate the abuser and keep that
Wow.
person happy. They're like busy in charge of everything. And then, the community is like, "Well, why do you keep going back? It's your fault because you keep going back." And it's like, they keep going
Yes.
back because our community hasn't offered them a true option.
Ooh. My. Oh my. Oh.
So when, that's what I keep saying to all our city leaders. What is it about San Antonio and Bear County that keeps that person going back to that situation?
Oh
That's
man.
what we have to change. And
Yes.
so, that's the kind of voice I have to be in all those, systems like the Collaborative Commission on Domestic Violence. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them.
Mm-mm.
This is a group that we're all part of now, the Collaborative Commission
Okay.
on Domestic Violence. And we refer to it as ccdv.org. So that's a website that also has a lot of information, and it's got the 3 reports that we've done so far of the work that we're doing in our city and county to
Okay.
address domestic violence. ccdv.org.
Okay.
And you can go on that website and find all that information and find resources. There's
Wow.
also a tab that we when we meet on a regular basis, we meet
Mhm.
once a month. One of the committees we meet, all our meetings are recorded and they're on that website if you would ever want to check out our previous meetings. And all of the domestic violence symposiums that we've
Okay.
had in 3 years, all recorded, all on that website.
All
you know
right.
and so lots of information is out there. Okay. And we just had our most recent symposium. It happened the 5th and the 6th of October, and those workshops should be on there.
Okay.
We're trying to make sure that people have access to whatever they need. And I'd like to share one more resource that is very powerful. It's also been recently created.
Mhm.
The Sacred website,
Yes.
SACRD.org.
Hmm.
When you
Yes. We use
when
that
you
a lot. Yes.
Yes, when you go there, right in front of you at the top, it'll say that it'll have like 3 tabs, and one of those tabs says "Love should not hurt." When you
Yes.
click on that tab, it'll take you to all the domestic violence resources in our community, and
Woo.
that is something that we helped build. You
That's
know,
right.
when Bill was creating all of this stuff, he met with all of us who work in this field in our city and county. He met with all of us so that
Bill
he could
Healy, I tell you. Yes.
and put all of that information on that tab that's directly related to all the work that we do in this community for addressing domestic violence.
I love that. Well, you know what? Should put we have it is already 6:51, and love should not hurt sacred, and then you can go by your zip code. Please just check that out. Some people are saying um we you have given us so many resources. San Antonio does have a lot of wealth of resources.
Yes, it
So
does.
all we have to do is educate ourselves, like you stated. And
Please.
you have been given us some words of wisdom. But in closing, if somebody who is in a situation and you have said that, or someone who is wanting to help someone, what additional words of wisdom can you give before we sign off tonight?
Well, just, be open to whatever it is that they say to you, uh,
Hmm.
because, you know, it has to happen on their timeline, not
Yes.
ours.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's something it's hard for us to take.
Hmm.
But, I have worked in domestic violence for 43 years, Emma.
Wow.
and
Wow.
and that is one of the hardest lessons I had to learn, was that they're not going to leave because Patricia Castillo says they should leave.
Right.
No, they have
Right.
to leave when they're the owner of that decision.
Woo! That
Okay,
made my hands go up. Yes.
they have to be the owner of that decision. And so they might say to you, no, I have to give him a chance. Poor thing, he needs help. And I want to help him. And, I don't want to bust up my family. Remember that keeping your family together is an American value.
Right.
And people are trying to live up to that American value, even if it means they might have to suffer some more. And so, what we see is sometimes a survivor will go back 5, 6, 7 times
Hmm.
trying to make it work,
Yes.
trying to fix it, trying to mend it, trying to help their partner mend. And, it's not until they finally realize, if that person is not willing to get help for themselves,
That's
they're
right.
never gonna change.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have to just go through so much stuff before they understand that whole notion, that whole idea.
That is so true. But I
So
want to say, thank you for sharing your words of wisdom, your knowledge.
I'm happy
Um,
to do it anytime. Please, if people would like to have, a 1 hour, a 2 hour training, a 2 hour workshop, we provide that for the community,
okay.
and we ask for a small fee to
Mhm.
support the nonprofit work that we do. And
Yes.
whatever, honorariums or whatever are given to us for this work, it goes straight back into the Peace Initiative kitty. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
to support the attorney we have on staff, the caseworker we have on staff, the court advocate we have on staff,
Yes.
the parenting educator we have on staff. It supports that work. And so, we're happy to do that, and we need an educated citizenry. We
Yes.
need everybody in our community to be knowledgeable, aware, and feel good about being able to respond to a situation of family violence because it requires our attention.
Wow.
Seriously.
Thank you. And if someone wanted to donate to the Peace Initiative, they just go to your website and there's a place to donate.
Yes, there's a donate button right on the
Oh, wait,
website, and
that's
just
what we
click
need.
on there. We take donations. Please support our work. A lot of people, like they're like, oh no, it's just too scary, or it seems too painful, or it seems too hard. Can I just, send you a check? And it's like, yes, you
Send
know,
me the money, help us out. Yes.
I'll do the work. I know how to do it. My people know how to do it. Help
Oh,
us keep doing this work because we need it for our community. Our community has some of the highest numbers in the state of Texas, Emma.
yes, they do.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
And
Especially when
unfortunately, the domestic violence feeds into the child abuse.
it
And
does.
we have some of the highest numbers of child abuse too. And so, we really need to be doing this work, and all of your support is very much welcome.
Well, thank you. I know Lucy, she works with Child Protective Services, and I saw Donna on here, and everybody is on. If you had not had a chance to like, tag, and share this episode, please do so. Let's inform our community, those who are in San Antonio and outside, because this was a wealth of knowledge. They can go to these different websites and learn and how
Yes.
they can become better and educated and build their capacity to help a loved one or someone that they're work with, a co-worker, but how to, what we say, champion, to walk alongside. How can we
Yes.
accompany somebody? And that's so important. I'm going to close us out in prayer, but I want to say thank you for being with us and sharing. This has been phenomenal. Donna, I know we have a flyer. I don't know if you're at your computer to put up the flyer for tomorrow. In the chat, we would love to see her picture. Um, I know you're going to be on NAMI tomorrow. I think it's at 6. Oh,
Yes.
she said she'll put it up. So I'm going to pray and then we'll get that up so everybody can see. So, Father, we thank you. We thank you what Patricia has said to us today, how we've been educated, those who shared online and may know someone or be in the situation, but that we would continue to grow in knowledge and that we would not judge, because it's so quick to say, why don't you get out of that? But it was even shared today, trying to get out is when the abuse gets higher, death or can happen even more. So help us to tame our words. Help us to be wise before we speak. And then if we don't know what to say, that we would just be silent and ask for help, to get some help so we can help somebody else. So we thank you as we go out today that we're fully persuaded we have done and said what you called us to do. God, you be glorified and the enemy be horrified. I thank you. Someone will come out of that situation because the words that were spoken today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
So I'm waiting for Donna to pull that flyer up. Next week, we'll be in the month of November. I think we're gonna try to do 2 more before we take a holiday break, and then we're gonna go into um, January, and we're gonna go into a podcast even more so. Bishop and I are going to be doing some more. We do a lot of things on relationships, and so we're going to see how things. We're going to navigate new waters. We got to be able to not be scared to go into the deep.
That's right. That's right. We got to be risk takers.
You have to be. Not
Yes.
sure if it's posted. Okay,
That's
she doesn't see it. But
okay.
for those who are there, I believe it is tomorrow at 6 o'clock on NAMI. If you go to NAMI Bridges to Care website, you can go ahead and register. Oh, there it goes right there. Thank you. It says tomorrow, 6:30 to 7:30, domestic violence. This is important training for adults and teens about the dangers of teen dating violence. And
Yes.
there's the link. So
Yes.
this will be on our website and as well as our YouTube. So if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I am Overseer Emma Alexander, and I thank you for joining us tonight. Have a beautiful evening. We love you, and God bless. Bye-bye.